I don't quite get it. Why is ministry so confusing? The wonderfully interesting, yet unarguably regular scenes seem to roll by month after month. And I say that only having been a pastor for just over a year. Worship is facilitated, spurring people to freshly sense God in courageously intense ways, hopefully leaving a lasting impression. Church business, for better or worse, is transacted by committees who invest to differing degrees their measure of knowledge and ideas to stimulate the church's growth while maintaining its practically essential operation. Some individuals weekly prioritize Christian education through study in Sunday school and vacation Bible school, as well as gaining other learning from guest speakers or other biblical and intellectual resources. Continually and unforgivingly, the stages of ministry evolve in people's personal and collective lives, enduring unspeakable hardship, realizing great joy, searching for identity, acutely being aware of the need for something more, being ready to give up, being terminally ill, being hopeful for the future, being content where one is now, and wistfully longing for the past. Stuff. So much stuff. Okay, maybe I understand why ministry is so complicated. Because we're all humans, created by God, some of whom have professed a faith in Jesus Christ, yet all of us at a different place in our faith journey. And that conundrum to me is not wrong, rather exciting. If we were all in the same place, friends, there wouldn't be any room for sincere discussion, passionate debate, or avid opinion. But wait, I forgot the most important entity. There wouldn't be room for Jesus Christ. If we individually knew it all, and collectively we were all crammed into a narrow tunnel of thought. We just need to make sure Jesus is leading our lives, regardless of their current temper. As Daniel Allender and Tremper Longman III write in their book, Breaking the Idols of Your Heart, Jesus relentlessly undermines all that is not God to make room for the God who has redeemed our hearts. Yet the fact remains, as ministers, we must deal with all our stuff and try to be with everybody else in their stuff. What an uncomfortably intimate dichotomy we face. Obviously, ministry comes with a cost, my friends. In our scripture text, Jesus reminds us who he is, so we know who's in charge. He then relieves his readers of any doubt who he is by illustrating to the disciples, and especially to Peter, his assertive power. Next, he gives a charge to the disciples and the rest of the crowd to follow him. And finally, he encourages, yet admonishes his audience to not be afraid of serving him at all costs. So for us as ministers, I see 4 keys to live this account according to Mark, and thereby live in the stuff of the harmonious concoctional mystery of ministry. I've tried to make this easy for us, friends. Easy because it's important. That's pretty simple. All these words, you'll notice, and with the A-T-I-O-N suffix. And for me to name that is pretty remarkable because I can't spell. They are preparation, affirmation, dedication, and participation. Let us start with preparation. To undertake any task, we must have an idea of where we want to go. Jesus couldn't have preached half of what he did to the disciples or anyone else had he not established who he was and made them realize the greatness with which they would be. Preparation is the foundational crux, yet often forgotten thirsting root for any ministry. It involves carefully intentioned organization and planning. It declares consideration for others to make an idea or program happen, as well as expresses encouragement for attending those events. It assists and excites us in discerning God's vision by slowly bringing each piece of a larger puzzle slowly together to bursting fruition. Preparation allows us to thoroughly enjoy the fruit of our labor. You might especially be aware of its necessity when you're planning a trip. It's probably not going to be as effective if you just go. Now, we're not talking about a jaunt over the supermarket before any of you say anything, but a long vacation or business trip. Chances are, unless you're really adventurous, you're going to take steps to develop some kind of basic framework. Well, ministry works the same way. A framework with God as its outline is inordinately essential to bask in ministry's rich awesomeness. Something else. Preparation involves sound communication. Jesus has called us, even if we make mistakes, to pick ourselves up and keep trying. I encourage all of us to think about always preparing ourselves for the stuff in ministry. Here's the reality. If we don't prepare ourselves, we can't be surprised or disappointed when more people aren't coming to our churches, or that ideas glimmer and die. An idea is only a stone unless it's joined with other stones to form a solid foundation. The second key to live in the stuff in ministry is affirmation. Consider our scripture again. Jesus couldn't have possibly won over the hearts of his disciples, nor the rest of the crowd in Philippi, nor any of his hearers ever in history for that matter, had he not affirmed at least a portion of who they were and sincerely encouraged their future by speaking encouragingly and compassionately, so succinctly and firmly. Now, certainly he wasn't all that affirming of Peter by calling him Satan. But even that was a gesture of calming assertiveness to wedge awareness in the disciples' minds about how most people were actually going to treat him. And when Peter tries to refute Jesus' wisdom, it's no wonder why he gets a little ticked off. It's almost as if Jesus is saying to Peter, brother, don't try to sugarcoat the reality of this whole situation to make everybody feel better. Friends, affirmation cannot be halfway. It doesn't have to be a warmly soft gesture. It can be vehemently paying someone a compliment, or like Jesus' plea here, supporting an impassioned plea either by yourself or someone else. Affirmation is better to be overdone rather than to not be mentioned at all because it's assumed. What happens if we don't feel affirmed? It's pretty easy. Ministry, even with the best laid plans, will not take flight without some affirmative energy to get it off the ground and keep it sailing along. Also, affirmation cannot be replaced by anything else. Expressions such as thanks, good try, or it all came together, just don't cut it.